Hey everyone, Creatively Cara here, and today we're going to take a look at 6 minimalist weekly spread ideas that I drew up for you. Sometimes it's really nice to just have these in your back pocket. As we all know, we have busy weeks or times where we just aren't going to have enough time to create a very artistic spread. So I hope that you are able to find some inspiration from these. This first spread here is very, very simple. I just divided each page so there's quarter boxes, but I just did the number at the top with the day of the week underneath of it. You could do whatever font you like. A lot of creativity there. Yes, you're going to have one box as a standalone, but you'll be able to work with that however you want. Or if you wanted to put Saturday and Sunday together for a weekend, you could have 2 blank boxes if you like to have a section for notes or adding a little bit of doodle here and there. The second spread is going to be a little bit more in depth, but I really like this one. So if you have a little extra time to create your weekly spread, this is a good option. Just draw out some big numbers, leave a section at the top for a header. And then you will be able to draw boxes over it. And I did this because I wanted to do white gel pen over top. Of course, you could do, draw out the boxes before and just skip writing in there so you don't have a colored in black box. So a little bit of options there. This is a Faber-Castell pen. I'm using that to fill, and I found that my white jelly roll pen worked best over this one. I tested out a few different ones. So everything that I'm using today will be linked in the description box down below if you're curious and want to check those out. My initial plan was to have Saturday and Sunday together. However, I forgot to make it so that 16 and 17 could be together. So I just went ahead and added in another box and put in 17. So Saturday and Sunday, either way, it kind of would have split. So I kind of like how this ended up turning out. I usually don't always write a ton on the weekend because I'm more so just relaxing than trying to be busy. So that can be kind of nice to have those 2 split days or put them together. It's commonly done both. But if I can, I would say that I prefer to keep them, within the same amount of space that I give every other day. But when you do a vertical layout like this, it's kind of hard to allow that, especially if you have an A5 size, which this is an A5 journal. The notebook I'm currently using is the Minimal Art Journal from Amazon. It's like a $10 journal, but kind of similar to probably the Leuchtturm 1917. So far I found it works pretty well. I'm using this sort of as my test journal and my journal video because I don't want to always do things in my current bullet journal. So I'm testing it out now and I do like it. I'm using my Tombow Fudaneschi, and it's, for some reason it was really heavy on the ink. I'm not sure why, but it did start to bleed through a little bit. So, but every other pen I used seemed to only ghost. So I will have this notebook linked below if you want to check it out. I'd say it's a pretty good budget journal if you can't afford the extra $10 to get, a dingbats like I currently have, or the Leuchtturm 1917. This layout is very, very simple as well. Sometimes it's really nice to just use the middle sections and then have sections on the side for notes or doodles, whatever you want to leave that for. I did add a header to this so I have March and the calendar there so I can see which week it is, but spaces are very simple, and I put the weekend together again. There's an odd number of days, so sometimes when you only have space for 6, you've got to do that, but you could span out the bottom if you really wanted to. This next layout, I'm using my mild liner to just draw simple lines across. And then I'm going to go back in and use my Faber-Castell pen again to draw some circles. You could do whatever shape you really wanted to here, but I'm going to use my white gel pen to go over those again and add in the day of the week, the number of the week on there. And for this one, each day has the same amount of equal space. Sometimes I like to use all upper caps, looks pretty nice. My handwriting is nothing fancy. I do try to spice things up a little bit, but when you're going for a minimalist look, honestly, whatever you can get, whatever handwriting you can use works. I saved the bottom to just have for notes. However, you could use that space for whatever you need, doodles, or if you want to do some tracking, like habit tracking during the week, that is always an option for you. This next weekly spread is a little different. I've never actually really tried this one before, but it is something I'm interested in testing out, as I will be going back to work next week after my maternity leave. So I'm really wanting to combine my bullet journal and work journal again. I used to have them together and then I separated them, but now I'm considering going back. It's really nice to just have everything all in one, but I definitely understand the need to have them separate as well. With this one, I'm using the Faber-Castell pen again to just color in boxes so that I can write with my white Jelly Roll pen. That's a very in thing to do with bullet journaling right now, but it really does look nice, and for a minimalist spread, I think it adds just the right amount of touch to it. This bottom piece I'm just going to add in as well. You could do notes or next week, habit tracking. So now I'm just going back in with my white Jelly Roll pen. This is the 0.8 size. I've been told that the 0.10 is more effective when writing over black ink, but I don't have one, so I'm just using the 0.8. It works pretty well. But just adding in the headers to each of those. And then for this spread, in order to use it, one side will be for work tasks or events, and the other side will then be for my personal items. So I'll be able to use both. And that way, they're still separated, but they're together. Or some people, if you prefer to have your events and notes separate from your tasks, you could do that as well. So different functionalities with this setup. In the next setup we have here, I'm going to, again, this one's getting a little bit more fancy, but still really does not take that long to set up. Just adding in some boxes, and then I'll be adding in a header. That's why I'm not filling in the boxes all the way. I have found that it's much faster to work without a ruler. So if you can manage to not be OCD about having straight lines, I would recommend just using the book to kind of guide your hand instead of pulling out the ruler for everything. But if you really like straight lines, then yeah, I'd probably use a ruler. And then just going back in here, and I'm going to write in the day of the week with the number. And again, you can use whatever font you feel works best here. I am doing a little bit of hand lettering, so if that doesn't work for you, then just use your own handwriting. It's totally fine. This is one of my Pentel Sign brush pens. I got these for Christmas, and I really love how they write as a brush pen. I'm still getting used to how they work. I think they're a little bit thicker than a Tombow Fudaneschi, but I wanted the Tombow Fudaneschi colors for Christmas, but I think this might have been on my wish list as well. But I got these ones instead, and there's also multiple colors, and I am so happy to have brush pens of a smaller size with color. I've used those a few times in my bullet journal and my school workbook as well. But adding a header here, with the extra space again, you can add in header trackers or doodles or washi tape, whatever you feel you might want to include in there. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch my video today. If you liked what you saw, make sure you hit that like button down below. And if you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button as well. You can follow me on my other social media accounts with the tags below, or you can watch my previous video. Until next time, bye-bye.